There are 5 reasons to vote against this bill. First of all, it won't work. The idea that someone who is not deterred by a dangerous journey in a dinghy across the most crowded sea lane in the world will be deterred by this flimsy piece of nonsense is just laughable. Second, it will lead to protracted and expensive chaos because it sails, as he says, so close to the wind legally that it will inevitably lead to legal challenges. And ironically enough, since the ouster clauses mean challenges cannot be adjudicated in the British courts, they will go to the European Court of Human Rights. So the government is actually replacing a UK court with a European court and simultaneously declaring on the face of the bill that it is not satisfied that the bill will withstand a legal challenge based on compatibility with the European Convention on Human Rights. That is a recipe for chaos and for expense. Thirdly, the bill seeks to reverse, by statute law, a finding of fact by the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court. It therefore creates a legal fiction. Its title, the Safety of Rwanda Asylum and Immigration Bill, gives the game away. According to the bill, Rwanda is safe, even if it isn't safe, simply because the government, through the bill, says it's safe. But declaring somewhere safe doesn't make it, of itself, safe. You can no more change reality by law or legal dictate than you can by mere imagination. As Bolingbroke says in Richard II, you cannot cloy the hungry edge of appetite by bare imagination of a feast. And you cannot make Rwanda safe just by saying it. So Clause 2's declaration that every decision-maker must conclusively treat the Republic of Rwanda as a safe country is utterly fatuous. If Rwanda is, either now or in the future, in fact safe, the provision deeming it safe is, or will at that point, be OTOs or redundant. But if Rwanda is not now or in the future safe, that provision is self-evidently wrong in fact and therefore wrong in principle. So Clause 2 is either unnecessary or wrong, or both simultaneously. Fourthly, the bill establishes in UK law a completely new doctrine of the separation of powers, as the ouster clauses, which prevent judges and tribunals from supervising the conduct of ministers in operating the policy they have laid out in statute, put ministers above the law. It is not the sovereignty of Parliament that the bill asserts, it's the sovereignty of ministers. But fundamental to the rule of law is the idea that the Crown, or its modern proxy, the executive, cannot act arbitrarily, even if it uses its majority in Parliament to declare that it can. That would be the worst form of Henry VIII Act, equivalent to Henry VIII's proclamation by the Crown Act 1539, which deemed that all the King's proclamations, even though they were not approved by Parliament, and I quote, shall be observed as though they were made by an Act of Parliament. Fifthly, now is not the time to undermine human rights and a rules-based order. The UK relies on foreign courts and tribunals being effective. We watch events in Ukraine and declare that the butchery in Bucha or in Mariupol is a war crime. Who do we want to adjudicate that? An international court. We rightly lecture China about human rights abuses in Xinjiang province and about abiding by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. We invoke Magnitsky sanctions against human rights abusers around the world. But how can we expect others to abide by the rule of law and their human rights and other treaty obligations if we abandon them?